Hi, I'm Ken.
Hi, I'm John.
And we're all about tools. Okay. Well, we're in for a real strange one tonight because it's already started out really weird.
That's right.
Before we jump right into the middle of the pool, though, we actually have a guest on the set tonight.
We do?
Yes. Her name is Mary Good. Do you want to come up here and say hi real quick, Mary? Mary will come out here real quick. Hurry up, come on, you got to go
come
fast.
Come on out real quick.
This is time. This is time.
Time is money.
She came with Brian, who is always handles our sound.
That's right.
Come on over here, Mary. This is Mary Good, and she's come to visit us tonight, so thanks for coming. Okay, now you can go away. We've had a lot of great stuff going on.
We like to embarrass everybody.
That's right. We live for moments like that. But really, we've had a lot of great things going on here lately, and we're excited, really, about tonight's show because this
I'm excited.
Okay, let me take that away from you. Keep you that. No, really, since we went to the show in Ligna, we saw a new tool by Fine called the Multimaster, the latest edition of it. Right. And we had hoped to actually have it on the show earlier, but because it was a brand new show being introduced.
Top secret.
Exactly. Being introduced at
AWFS.
Just last week, we couldn't have it prior to this point. But since we knew about it, Fine agreed to be on here this week, right after the show.
That's right.
So we're really excited. Everyone that I met at AWFS, I appreciate you coming by the booth and saying hi. It's always
I didn't
a great
see anybody there that I knew.
No, because we left you in your office.
That's right. I was hard at work at the office.
And it's stuff like this that'll get you in trouble every time. But really, though, we're really happy that you came by and I got a chance to meet you. And at the next show, make sure you stop by because maybe he will be with us.
Yep.
But anyway, tonight, again.
Look at all this orange.
Yeah, well, actually, let me show you. On the way out, I grabbed this.
Cool.
What do you think of that?
I think that's pretty neat.
I think it's really cool.
What's in there?
It's the newest and latest and greatest Multimaster by Fine.
Cool.
And to really make this look good, we actually talked Fine into sending one of their people to the show tonight. They didn't send anyone really high up or really good.
Did their people talk to our people?
They did.
Did they?
And they didn't send anyone high up because they didn't want to run the risk of looking bad. So they sent one of their...
And if this works out well, somebody from higher up will be on the show.
That's right.
Right.
And so they went ahead and they allowed Steve Eckert to come on, and he was willing to be a fool for tonight.
Steve Eckert is actually with Distributor Source.
Correct.
And he is our Fine rep for the area.
And he is a Fine rep, mind you.
Absolutely, he's a Fine rep. And actually, we used to sell a lot of Fine sanders. We've been out of touch with Fine for a long time, and the Multimaster kind of got us back involved, and we've been talking about some new things with them that are coming, and we'll see where things go. Great.
So we're really excited. So let's go ahead and let's get Steve up here. There you go. There's a box.
Come on up,
go ahead.
Steve.
I'll trade you spots, John.
All right. I'm going to come over here.
This is Steve Eckert.
Thank you, Ken.
Nice to meet you,
John.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming
Steve
on the show.
with Fine Power Tools.
All right. Tell us a little bit about Fine.
Okay, well, first off, Fine Power Tools has been in business since the 1800s. They developed the first electric drill in 1890. And from there, they've developed a whole line of power tools, some towards the metalworking trade, some towards the woodworking trade.
Now, why did they pick the name Fine instead of Great?
Because the owner's name was Fine.
Okay. So
Now, I'm sure that most of you, when at least in the solid surface industry, I guess, when you hear the name Fine, you relate it to sanders and vacuums. And that's what I think that most people knew about. But Fine actually has an entire line of tools that really we never paid any attention to, the Multimaster being one.
yeah, because the Multimaster actually has been around for quite a long time.
Yeah, the family of oscillating tools, which is what this is, Fine developed around 20 years ago. And this happens to be the third generation of the Multimaster.
Was Fine the first company to create oscillating tools?
Yes, it is a patented oscillating motion that is the only one available like that.
All right, so
Now, we're talking industrial power tools, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
So
Wanted to clarify that.
so basically, nobody else can really copy the same tool.
This tool is the only one on the market like that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, because I mean, you hear about other tools that I think are supposed to be like it,
Yes,
but there really isn't. This is the only one like
We've been
it in the marketplace.
very fortunate that the people that have tried to copy it have done a terrible job of it.
Okay.
The tool doesn't work very well, and for that reason, we're still considered.
This
the
tool
best on
doesn't
the
work
market.
very well, or the copies?
The copies.
Okay.
Now, just very quickly, I don't know if we're going to get to these, but these over here are the sanders we were talking about.
Random
and I
orbit
think
sanders,
what
yes.
we'll do is we're probably not going to have time today, but we'll have Steve come back on another episode,
Okay.
and we'll talk about sanders and maybe about some other unique tools that
Sure.
Fine has.
Sanders and vacs.
Okay.
Be a
And
great
this
one.
is the Multimaster here.
This is the what they call the Multimaster Top. This is their top of the line kit that they come out with. They have two other kits which we'll get into in a little bit.
Okay. Let's see what one of these does.
Okay. Well, first off, I'll tell you a little bit about how the tool works. It is an oscillating motion. When we talk about that, most tools that you see like this are going to rotate around and around. This tool oscillates back and forth off of the center point 1.6 millimeters each way. So a total of 3.2 millimeters in the oscillating motion.
Now that's right at the head, though. The further you get out, the more sweep you'll have.
Exactly, yes. At this point right here, at this height, it's 3.2 millimeters. And the oscillations can vary. All of these tools in all three kits come with a variable speed from 11,000 oscillations a minute to 22,000 oscillations
You
a
can
minute.
really
Now,
kick
how
it
does
up.
that, just out of curiosity, how does that vary or compare to a random orbit? I mean, what makes an oscillation, better or worse than a random
Well,
orbit?
a random orbit is a rotating motion that has a random pattern to it. This has a specific pattern that doesn't rotate at all. It's just oscillating back and forth.
This basically has a side-to-side stroke, whereas a random orbit
Well,
is basically it's a
okay.
circle, but
Within
it's constantly
another
oblong.
Random
Okay.
circles in
All right.
between that. Yes.
Right. So it enables this tool to do a lot of different functions.
Absolutely. One of the things that this tool started out 15, 16 years ago as a detail sander. Still a very good detail sander, but what we've done is we've added a lot of other accessories, mainly from our customers that have come to us and said, this would be great if it would do this, So we can saw with it, we can scrape with it, we can remove grout with it, we can cut with it, we can do a lot of different things that no other tool. That's why we call it the Multimaster. It has a lot of different functions. So for a remodeler or someone in the professional trade, or even down into the to a homeowner, you can do a lot with this tool.
Now
And-
I'm curious. The first generation of this was how powerful a tool?
Okay, the original tool was 180 watts of power. This new tool that just came out is 250 watts of power.
Okay, and that's because it has to support the ever-increasing options you can
Options
put on
as
it.
far as accessories, that's correct.
More power.
To you.
More power.
A couple other features that they added with this particular Multimaster is the most popular is the quick release, or what
That
they
is
call
nice.
a quick in, so that you just remove the accessory like this. And the old model should have had one here, has a set screw that you basically took accessories on and off with. So
My glasses,
this
man.
makes it a very fast, much faster way of doing it. Of course,
So is something in here actually just grabbing these threads?
Yep, this is nothing but a screw. When you put that in there, this right here has gripper jaws that pull up on that and lock it into place.
So depending on the thickness of the accessory, it'll catch
Catch it
whatever.
in any one
Okay.
place. That's correct.
That's great.
Now, the other thing I noticed earlier, too, because you have this system, you're able to pivot, really, let's say on this point like this detail sander, you can pivot this point to any position on the head that you want.
Well, one other feature that they put on this tool over the previous models is they put a star drive on this. You can see that there. And what that does is it gives a much more positive drive to the tool. All the accessories have a star type accessory hole in it,
Now the older model was round?
just to had a round hole.
Okay.
Some accessories it didn't really matter, but when you got into the accessories that required higher torque, that becomes real important.
Okay.
But what Ken was saying is that because of this star drive, you can locate this thing at any position that you want.
All right, great. Now that's so much better than, say, just an inexpensive triangle sander.
Exactly.
You know, that there's a lot of them available out there, but they don't rotate, so you really can't always get into a good tight
Right.
corner.
And the first thing I do when somebody says, "Oh, I have one of the lesser expensive models," I say, "Okay, well, just turn yours on and then turn ours on, and you'll see that this just a much more solid tool. It doesn't fatigue your hand and makes for a much better tool." But to put this accessory on there, you just take and pop that on there like that. You don't have to worry about holding it. It won't fall out. But when you pull this back, that actually locks it in place.
It's really a nice feature.
And with this triangle pad, the detail sander pad, it's Velcro paper, so you just easy enough just to apply that paper. And as you wear the papers in the corners, because what you're going to be doing is sanding into areas.
Let's turn that a little bit so you can get in that corner real well. That actually kicks up some dust right away, so I mean, you can tell it actually is doing something.
Yeah.
And this is available with dust collection as well?
The top kit comes with a dust attachment that hooks right in here. I can show you that in a little bit.
Okay.
But when you do that, the pads have holes in it. When you hook it up to hopefully a fine vacuum, it will eliminate all your dust.
Okay, great.
So now do you have to get a special paper for that?
It comes with papers with holes in it.
Okay, with
so you get it
pre-punched,
with
okay.
and without that.
Now you had started to say that when you wear this, are you?
Yeah. What happens is because you're sanding normal end along an edge or a corner, you're going to get wear on the point and along these edges here. So to maximize the life of the paper, the Velcro, you can just flip it around and get use out of all
okay.
sides and all corners of the paper.
All right.
Or you could even, I would guess, you could even just break the connection and rotate it. That way you're going to wear the pad evenly too.
You could.
That's true.
With this new tool, I haven't tried that, so let's try it right
Probably
now.
pretty easy to do with that tool.
I was just thinking, just lift it up, rotate it.
The only problem is you're not going to be able to get that
With the paper on
tight
it.
on there with the paper on it.
Right, because it's got to be down in that center
It
hole.
has to be down into the center hole.
So then it really wouldn't matter. Then you could just pull the paper off and rotate it.
Exactly.
But you probably want to pay attention because you're probably going to wear the hook.
Yeah, and this has changed a lot over the years too. We've always had Velcro paper. We've had PSA paper. And I used to really push the PSA because of Velcro, the hook and loops would melt. This is a high temperature hook and loop. Now, that
Good idea. Yeah.
doesn't mean it's invulnerable, but
Right.
it does last a whole lot longer that way. But eventually these points will tear. That's why we sell more pads. They come in packs of 2.
The marketing comes out.
There
right?
we go. All right, so not to spend too much time on the detail sander, we can
Right.
maybe go to a different accessory.
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Okay. So to change any accessory, you just pull that lever back, pop that out, put this aside. Which
do you
would
want
you
to do
like
next?
to do next? This off?
Yeah, we
Okay.
can do that. Sure.
All right. Again, this can be mounted at any position on this tool. I happen to like it straight ahead. You'll see in some of our videos that people like to cut with it this way, in this
Okay.
position. So it doesn't really matter.
Now, can you actually move it along, or do you have to keep making plunges?
No, you can move it along. I'll
Okay.
show you. All right, so as long as it's down in there, turn it over, pop that, and it's locked into place. Again, this is the kind of oscillating motion that you get with that.
Now I noticed that has a soft start on it.
Yes, it does in this newer model. Most of the time, you're going to run this tool at the highest oscillations per minute. Okay, there are a few applications where you'll slow it down, but for the most part, you're running it at the
Why
higher.
would you slow it down?
Fine sandpaper where you don't want to do any burning or anything. You might be doing some real fine work. The faster oscillations might burn the material.
So, what would you use a blade like that for instance?
For any kind of cutting. This is the accessory that sells a lot of these tools because let's say that you're in remodeling a house, you're putting in a new kitchen, you've got molding that you need to cut out for your cabinets. This tool will cut about anything.
Want some help?
wow.
One thing about this is we call it oscillations, but it's
Really
also
cuts
a
smooth,
vibrating action. So if your material is moving, you won't cut. If you don't hold that tight there,
Oh,
I'm not going to give you. It has to have a rigid.
Okay.
Now, would that cut like a chisel? Could you cut just the round out of this straight across and then go in and, like, if you were trying to create
Why don't we
a,
lay that on here so we don't cut into our table?
you wanna
You
do
can go
that?
straight up and down if you
You'll
want.
help me hold that, so that does require.
Oh, wow. How sweet is that?
so you could cut a relief piece. That way, because sometimes I remember when we were doing tops all the time, sometimes
Can I
you'd
try
have to get right over it.
So if I wanted to do, like, say, a notch out of this, I can go straight down?
Right. And see, that's
Oh, wow.
moving the material there, so we want to make sure. When most people do that, they like to keep it perpendicular instead
Okay.
of like that, but and anyway, it works that way too.
But a chisel cut
So are
looks
you
nice.
so are you saying that a more experienced
Yeah,
person might
probably that
do a
would be
better
it,
job than
yeah.
I just did?
Right.
Okay.
If you hold that in,
All right, I got it.
you can just rip right down through here.
Okay. Watch my fingers.
Practice.
Okay.
So it's
Oh,
a
look
real
at that.
nifty tool. The other thing about this, the newer versions of this is called a wood and metal blade, and a universal blade. And this is a bimetal. Everybody pretty much knows what bimetal is. It's got a piece of high-speed steel welded onto a carbon steel body. So the reason we did that, one's for life. You can cut light gauge metal with this.
So like you could cut off nuts and bolts and things like that?
Absolutely.
Cool.
If you're
I got
cutting
use for that
into
later.
a piece of molding that has a finish nail in it, you don't have to worry about ruining the blade by hitting that nail. But other things that you can do with this saw blade, not to spend too much time on that, but
That's all right. We've got time.
popular application is cutting door jambs. Got to picture this as being a door jamb, and you want to fit this wood in underneath that. If you'll hold that steady there. Now when this piece gets cut out all the way around, this piece will fit right up under there and give you a real nice flush cut.
Just drop
Cool,
right down
so
and
you
break
just-
it off. Just drop right down. It'll snap it.
No, it's not sticking out far enough.
But it gives you a very nice clean cut. I can cut that the rest of the way.
You didn't know I was going to make you do that, did you?
You really don't want to cut all the way through, though. Hold the stop a minute. If you cut all the way through your sides, the whole thing will drop down. But if we raise this up,
There you go. A real craftsman.
just take this off for a second. We can still illustrate what we want, which
Okay.
is with this sleeve down, our flooring now, except for that rubber molding part. But
Okay.
you can see how that would fit right under there now.
One thing that I noticed is that this doesn't have a mark on it at all. So you could actually use your finished flooring or
Yeah,
tile or
finish.
anything as the gauge, and it won't hurt it. Okay, that's great.
So that's a popular application for that
What about for like stripping silicones or something like that? Could you use it for that?
silicone.
Yeah, like if you have a silicone bead and you wanted to
Sure.
cut the silicone out, would you use that or would you use something else?
You could use this blade right here, but let me show you this other saw blade. It also comes in the kit. And this is a high-speed steel saw blade. You gotta
Now,
wonder why it's not circular.
This one's going to be cool to show. I'm excited about this. Well, actually, John's probably excited about this one.
Are you,
So
John?
before we get into this one and get crazy, let's take a minute
Take a break.
and we'll go to a break.
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back.